2 SSDs, same price, same size, same 3 letters stamped on the box, NVMe, and yet one of them is 5 times faster than the other in real use, and nothing on the label tells you which, because the spec that actually decides it isn't the big number on the front. It's 3 tiny words on the back that most people never read. Here's every SSD and NVMe spec explained, what each one really means, and the one that decides whether you bought a great drive or a slow one wearing a fast drive's name. Form factor. This is just the shape of the drive, the first thing you choose and the only spec you can see with your own eyes. 2. Turn up. The 2.5-inch drive is the flat metal rectangle about the size of a small phone. It slides into the same bay and cable an old laptop hard drive used. The M2 drive is the bare little stick of chips, roughly the size of a stick of gum, that screws straight onto the motherboard with no cables at all. Here's the trap most people miss. M2 is only the shape, not the speed. A drive in that gum stick form can secretly be a slow SATA drive or a fast NVMe one. The tell is the little notches, called keys. 2 notches means the slower SATA kind, 1 notch means true NVMe. That number on M2 drives, 2280, isn't a model code. It's the size, 22 millimeters wide, 80 long. That's all it means. Quick one. If the confusing side of buying tech is finally starting to click, subscribe, it genuinely helps the channel. So the shape tells you it'll fit. It tells you nothing about how fast it is. For that, you need the next spec, the one that sets the whole ceiling. The interface, SATA versus NVMe. If form factor is the shape, the interface is the language the drive speaks to your PC, and it sets the entire speed ceiling before anything else matters. SATA is the old one, built for spinning hard drives decades ago. It tops out around 550 megabytes per second, no matter how good the SSD behind it is. NVMe was designed from scratch for flash, and it talks over the fast PCIe lanes instead, so it starts roughly where SATA ends and climbs from there. The trap, the two can look identical. A SATA and an NVMe drive can sit in the same M2 slot, same length, same price sticker, and differ 10 to 20 times in speed. The word NVMe on the listing is the thing you're actually paying for, not the shape. Upgrading a spinning hard drive to any SSD is the biggest speed jump most people will ever feel. Going from SATA to NVMe after that is real, but far quieter than the number makes it sound. So NVMe is fast, but not all NVMe is equal, and the next spec is the big number the marketing wants you to stare at. PCIe generation. This is the headline on every NVMe box, Gen 3, Gen 4, or Gen 5, and it's the marketing star of the whole spec sheet. PCIe is the highway an NVMe drive drives on, and each new generation roughly doubles the speed of the lanes. Gen 3 moves about 3,500 megabytes a second. Gen 4 doubles it to around 7,000. Gen 5 doubles it again to nearly 14,000, about 25 times a SATA drive. The trap is twofold. First, your motherboard sets the ceiling. Drop a Gen 5 drive into a Gen 3 slot, and it runs at Gen 3 speed. You paid for numbers you'll never see. Second, almost nothing you do at home saturates even Gen 4. Games, apps, and boot times barely move between the generations. The giant Gen 5 number is completely real in a benchmark and nearly invisible opening Chrome. Buy the generation your board actually supports, not the biggest one on the shelf. That's every spec the box wants you to see. Now the 3 it doesn't. The ones that actually separated those 2 identical drives from the start. That's every spec the marketing wants you to stare at. Quick favor. If buying tech is finally starting to make sense, hit subscribe. It's genuinely what keeps these coming. Okay, now the 3 specs the box doesn't put on the front, starting with the one that separated our two mystery drives. NAND flash, TLC versus QLC. This is the actual memory that holds your data, and how many bits each microscopic cell stores changes everything. Yet it's usually buried in the fine print. TLC packs 3 bits per cell. QLC crams in 4. More bits means cheaper, denser storage, which is exactly why that amazing deal, high-capacity drive, is almost always QLC. The catch is speed and lifespan. A cell holding 4 possible values is slower to read and wears out faster than one holding 3. In light use, you won't notice, but copy a big folder and a QLC drive can start fast, then fall off a cliff. The trap: 2 drives, same NVMe Gen 4 label, same capacity, one TLC, one QLC, can perform worlds apart under load for the exact same price. A cheap QLC drive can begin a copy at over 2,000 megabytes a second, then crash to barely 100 once its buffer fills, slower than the SATA drive we called old. But the cell type is only half of why that drive stumbled. The other half is a chip the cheap ones quietly leave out. DRAM versus DRAM-less. Every SSD keeps a map of where your files physically live across the chips. On a good drive, that map sits in a dedicated DRAM cache, a tiny high-speed memory chip, so the drive finds anything instantly. To hit a lower price, makers delete that chip, a DRAM-less drive. Without its own map, a DRAM-less drive either borrows a sliver of your system RAM, a feature called HMB, or slows down hunting for data, especially when the drive is full or busy. It's the difference between snappy and stuttery that no headline number ever captures. The trap. DRAM cache is rarely printed on the front of the box. You often have to dig into the full spec sheet, which is precisely why the cheap drives stay quiet about it. That cache is tiny, about 1 gigabyte of DRAM per terabyte of storage, yet it's one of the biggest real-world speed differences on this entire list. So that's the pair that split our two mystery drives, flash type and cache. The next spec doesn't slow a bad drive down. It slows a good one down the moment it gets hot. Thermal throttling. The faster the drive, the hotter it runs, and a hot NVMe drive deliberately slows itself down to avoid cooking. That's throttling. A Gen 3 drive rarely cares. A Gen 4, and especially a Gen 5, can get hot enough during a long transfer that it drops its speed until it cools, turning that 14,000 number into something far smaller exactly when you're pushing it hardest. The fix is a heatsink, a finned metal plate that pulls heat away. Many motherboards now ship with one built over the M2 slot. Premium drives arrive wearing their own. The trap: buy a screaming fast Gen 5 drive, run it bare with no airflow, and you can lose the very speed you paid extra for. This is real enough that Sony requires a heatsink on any M2 drive you add to a PlayStation 5. No cooler, no install. Heat is about speed today. The last spec is about something slower and scarier: how long the drive lives at all. Endurance, TBW. Flash memory doesn't last forever. Each cell can only be written so many times before it wears out. Makers rate that as TBW, terabytes written, the total data you can pour onto the drive across its whole life. The bigger and better the drive, the higher the number. Paired with it is the SLC cache, a clever trick where the drive treats a chunk of itself as ultra-fast, simple memory to absorb your writes, then quietly shuffles the data to its slower real cells afterwards. It's why a big copy can start blazing, then sag. You filled the fast buffer. The QLC drives from earlier lean on this trick the hardest. The trap. TBW mostly matters if you write enormous amounts every day. Video editors, heavy downloaders. For normal use, you'll replace the drive long before you ever exhaust it. A 1 terabyte drive rated 600 TBW means writing 300 gigabytes every single day for over 5 years before you'd hit the limit. So, remember the 2 drives from the very start? Same price, same NVMe, one 5 times faster in real use. Here's the answer at last. The fast one was TLC flash with a DRAM cache. The slow one was QLC and DRAM-less. Identical on the front of the box, worlds apart on the back. So if you only ever check one thing, check this. For a drive that stays fast under real work, look for TLC and DRAM. That single pairing beats chasing the biggest PCIe number almost every time. Then match the drive to you. If you just want your PC to feel faster, any NVMe Gen 3 or Gen 4 drive is a massive upgrade. Genuinely, don't overthink the generation. If you're a gamer, a Gen 4 drive with DRAM is the sweet spot. Gen 5 runs hotter and costs more for speed you won't feel in games. If you edit video or move huge files all day, this is the one time to pay up. TLC, DRAM, a high TBW, and a heatsink. And that's every SSD and NVMe spec. From the shape you can see to the 3 little words on the back that actually decide how fast your drive feels. Next time a listing throws PCIe, TLC, and DRAM-less at you, you'll read it like a menu instead of a wall. If this finally made SSD shopping make sense, subscribe. New tech explained every week. And go watch every RAM spec explained next, because picking the wrong RAM is the other upgrade mistake almost everyone makes.